What is your favorite animated sitcom of all time? Today I'll be making a list of just that, ranking every animated sitcom that I've ever seen. I hope you enjoyed today's video and subscribe if you do. Enough yapping, here we go. At number 20, and my only honorable mention, is The Simpsons. I've never really watched this show, I've never seen an episode all the way through, but I know that it's probably great and I respect it enough to put it on here as at least an honorable mention.
She'll clone high.
At number 19, at the actual start of this list, I have Clone High. This show has an incredibly unique concept that I believe they atrociously failed. This is the show I've seen most recently on this list, and I hated it. And I hated how poorly they executed such a cool concept. This is also one of the very few shows I quit watching and just couldn't bring myself to finish. At number 18, I have the Napoleon Dynamite show. I remember when this came out and I wanted it to work so bad. Napoleon Dynamite is one of my favorite shows of all time, even to this day. And it just didn't work. This show could not replicate the lightning in the bottle they had with the movie. All the jokes and situations were forced, which is sad because the movie did it so naturally. This was just a terrible cash grab they did for a movie 5 or so years too late. And at number 17, I have the Mike Tyson Mysteries. This was a truly off-the-wall idea for a show. Mike Tyson going around solving mysteries with friends, one of them being a ghost, one of them being a pigeon. And it wasn't completely awful. My main criticism of the show was that it banked on the absurdity of the characters, and it's just not really enough to carry the humor for an entire show. Your whole joke can't be it's Mike Tyson being a little silly and solving mysteries. It's just not enough to make it worth getting people to continue watching it. But that's why it's at number 17.
My name is Cleveland Brown, and
At number 16, I have The Cleveland Show. It's still very hard to imagine that they thought The Cleveland Show would work. As a Family Guy spinoff, there's not many main characters that would have been worse decisions for this. There's a reason Cleveland, Joe, and Quagmire were side characters. Too much of them would have been annoying and grating and just not good TV. The Cleveland Show was so nervous that it wasn't going to work that it had a talking bear be an important character on the show. This show just didn't work, and it made sense for him and his family to come back to be on Family Guy. At number 15, I have F is for Family. God, this show loves to yell, doesn't it? And I don't know about you, but I get very tired of it within just a few episodes watched. I get it's supposed to be more of a real sitcom from Bill Burr's youth, but it's just brutal to watch sometimes, and it's just completely joyless. It is a very hard show for me to get through every time I try to watch it. At number 14, I have The Inside Job. Alright, you caught me. I love conspiracy theories. I've watched many videos and even created some videos on the subject. And that's what this show is kind of poking fun at the whole time. And as much as I love them, there's a limit. Not everything is a conspiracy, and even when they are, it's not always funny by any means. The characters aren't that likable and the plots aren't that clever or funny. The show is just truly mid to me. At number 13, I have Big Mouth. This is probably the most polarizing show on this list. People usually either love it or hate it. I myself find myself somewhere in between there. I think some of their concepts are pretty clever, but also think this show has long overstayed its welcome. I think it could have been a cool and creative show for about 3 seasons, but it's currently on season 7 and I don't know when it will end. I'm hoping that it will be soon.
Good morning, USA!
At number 12, I have American Dad. Now, I wasn't really sure where to rank American Dad. It wasn't a show I sought out as a kid, but when I watched it, it's good. It's enjoyable. I like the characters and think the concept's pretty good. I think its biggest problem was coming out in the same universe as Family Guy, where it's being done so much better. This makes sense since they're both Seth MacFarlane shows, but it really feels like he got the B team for this show compared to Family Guy, which just sucks.
My name's Corbo. This is my show. I just dropped the pupa. Do you see me?
At number 11, I have Solar Opposites. So like American Dad was B-Team Family Guy, Solar Opposites is B-Team Rick and Morty. One of my best friends absolutely loves this show, so I keep giving it chances, but it never became anything I look forward to when new episodes come out. I don't dislike it by any means, but it makes a lot of sense that it would end up right in the middle because I think the show is just okay overall. At number 10, I have Bob's Burgers. Now, this is a show that I respect what it is, even if it's not quite my humor. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I like how well the characters work together and the funny writing. But it's never really been a show I've sought out to watch, so it isn't quite as high on my list as most people would have it. At number 9, I have Archer. I think Archer's really hilarious. What an interesting idea for a show being like almost a James Bond comedy. The characters and story evolve over time, and that is more than I can say for 90% of this list. I just think that it's a funny show that more people should give a chance. At number 8, I have Regular Show. I started to watch Regular Show super late in the game. My 2 younger brothers always loved it and told me to watch it, so a few years ago I gave it a try, and I was glad I did. The creativity and writing of this show are truly superb. This show has some of the wildest endings to episodes that I have ever seen. It's basically like going on an acid trip midway through the episode and just seeing how it would end. The characters are also great as well. This is definitely a show that I actively recommend to people.
That all you see is violence.
At number 7, I have Family Guy. Family Guy is definitely the show on this list that I've been watching for the most years. I remember watching it as a young kid and only understanding some of the jokes. Now it has been relegated to a background show. Since I've seen it so many times, it's very good for that. It's funny, problematic, and oftentimes just crazy. But I think at one point, it was one of the best animated shows out there, and it's still not too bad to watch. At number 6, I have Rick and Morty. This is a great show and one that I actively keep up with to this day. It is bonkers, funny, smart, and pessimistic at times. But the world it creates and the character arcs it has are truly second to none. There are so many running bits on the show that it almost feels fresh and different than any other show out there. The last few years have been lacking a little bit for me personally, but that's the only reason why it's not higher up on this list. Now at number 5, we have South Park. This is possibly the most consistently funny show on this list. I think it's a great show with some of the best parody in all of media. And this show is made even funnier with the inclusion of my favorite character, Randy Marsh. I think Randy might be one of the funniest characters in all of media. Everything he does is hilarious, then there's a town and supporting cast that just makes the show even better than it would have been. This show felt like the writers can just do whatever they wanted, and it has made this show last for 20 plus years. It is absolutely fantastic and should give it a watch.
The builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration.
At number 4, I have The Boondocks. This is a fantastic show. The Boondocks took parody to a whole new level, and it always had something meaningful to say. Lessons that Huey gives throughout the show are important to this day. And Riley and Granddad are always having their own problems, and it's just great. It was always funny to me to see how different Riley and Huey were, or how well Granddad did with the ladies. All in all, this was a surprisingly deep show that you should absolutely check out if you get the chance. At number 3, I have BoJack Horseman. Now to the most complex and deep show on this list. On the surface, this is just a show about a washed-up actor who happens to be a horse. But it honestly is so much more than that. It is funny, too, but the deep parts are really what puts this on this list. We see him struggle through guilt, addiction, letting go, and most of all, depression. You aren't going to find many shows that go at those subjects so headstrong, but they do, and they do not apologize for it. This is one of the best written animated shows in the last 20 years, and if you have not seen it, you absolutely should. At number 2, I have Futurama. This show is criminally underrated. It isn't as vulgar as Family Guy or as deep as BoJack Horseman, but it has tons of heart, and it shows that throughout the show. The characters all have different episodes that easily make me cry. Each character has a place and a deeper connection to another character, and it's just really beautiful. The writing on the show is phenomenal, and the world building rivals even Rick and Morty. I love the idea of an animated show that is secretly so deep and fantastic. This is a great show that you need to watch at some point throughout your life because it's genuinely worth your time. And at number 1, I have King of Hill. Now for the literal and figurative King of the Hill. When I saw this show as a kid, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was boring and unfunny, and I just turned it to Family Guy. But boy, did this show grow on me as I got older. The characters and their dynamics and how they play off of each other is masterful. And Kid Me was an idiot because this show's hilarious. Between Dale throwing pocket sand, Hank acting like a literal pimp in an episode, and Peggy just being the absolute worst at everything is hysterical. And watching these characters grow and change is a delight upon every walkthrough. If you haven't given this underrated gem a watch, then I implore you to do so because it is absolutely fantastic and my number one. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below what I overrated or what I underrated. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.